Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at TheTechTrader.com. It's Sunday morning, the 11th of February. My apologies for not being able to get this to you earlier. I was traveling. This is the S&P 500. You can see a monster move since the October low. It's taken us from 4108 to 5,026. That's more than 900 points. And quite frankly, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a long fifth wave. Now, are we done? Well, maybe not. The market always goes further than you think it's going to. This could be blow-up stage, and it wouldn't shock me if we went into a vertical blow-off to 5,200 and then drop the market down. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq 100 as well. Nasdaq 100 very similar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth is more like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I mean, we're long in the tooth on both indices. I was always projecting about 18,000 possibility. We're almost there, 18.2 maybe. The bottom line is, on a long-term basis, the market can go a lot higher, but on a short-term basis, ever since the October low, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves, basic Elliott wave stuff. The angle of ascent says the top of the channel. Calls for a move up towards 18, let's call it 3-4 range. Up there. There's your channel bottom. And also support where broken. Now, I would have to say your near-term support is about 17,637 on the NDX. Where the S&P support comes in on the recent pullback lows, and we're talking about 49.75, 49.57 in that area. I'm sorry, 49.50 and 4,900. Under 4,900, then you start to get maybe a little bit more testy. We'll have to just see if this market wants to extend, and we'll be monitoring it closely, obviously. But dynamite look to it. What about small caps and transportation? Well, the IWM, after forming a large wedge pattern, popped out of it, but didn't quite get to a previous high. If you take a look at where we're at, 199.41 here, 198.94 there, 199.55 is a slight new high here. But fractionally. Closed right at or around that range. So if the market opens Monday strong, we could get a blow-off stage and at least get up to 205, 5.5 or something crazy like that. Bottom line is we just don't know yet. We'll have to play by ear. Play what you see, not what you think. Now, the transportation index, which is basic Dow theory, also broke out of a wedge and might be attempting to confirm the other indices, but it's got some work to do. Looking at 16.7. Thereabout, so another 500 points could go vertically. That's a good sign for small cap per se. Now the angle might look something like this. And you might be looking at a move that takes the Dow 20 or transportations up towards 17,000. Keep your eye on what's going on there. Now, looking at the oscillators, oscillator is on a daily basis has moved back up towards the declining top sign. Now, this isn't as meaningful. It's just a question of overbought, oversold. Right now, it's plus 23, which is pretty neutral. That's because the advanced declines in up-down volume just haven't been that strong. One of the things that worries me about the market, if you get a market at all-time highs, and the oscillator is plus 23, that'll tell you something about the internals. So we got to be careful there. What about the percentage of stocks above their 40? That's something I follow pretty closely. We have about less than half of the stocks are above even a 40-day average, which also shows you about a lack of market participation in a thin market, mostly led by tech and the large cap. Now, we're going to take a look at some of the components right now. But before we do that, just a quick look at the VIX. At a plus less than 13, the VIX is not telling us anything about any fear. But it also isn't completely apathetic. Now, it is near a multi-year low, but we've seen this down in the single digits before. We may get there, we may not. We'll have to just see what goes on. Here's some of the components and what they look like. Apple has not been an exceptionally good stock right now. You can see that it's formed a large kind of consolidation wedge at 1, 2, 3, and then a bounce. That was a big reversal bar here. And now we can see if we can get Apple above 191 with energy and then take out 194.5 range, that would be huge for the market. There is a triple bottom down there, 180. The strong stocks are Amazon. Look at that. New all-time high. Microsoft. Oops. New all-time high. And Google. Not quite a new all-time high, but what a rally. In the last 6-7 days, it's reversed off 138. Now it's at 150. A little bit of, to fill that gap, you got to get up to about 152 and 3/4, and then maybe take out the high of 156, 155, sorry, 20 right there. But you can see the trend on these stocks are phenomenal. Google, Microsoft, Amazon. We're not even talking about Nvidia, but check this out. Monster up another 25 points on Friday. Long in the tooth, but quite frankly, the top of the channel doesn't come in until 800. And if you look at SMCI, which is not a major component, but a market favorite, same thing here. It's trending towards 800, maybe more, maybe 8.25. So we know it's very, very much overbought short term and intense. Nvidia is the same. Keep raising your stops on Nvidia. I have support about 643 and first 663 and 643. And beneath that, I have a problem with Nvidia. We'll see if we can consolidate in that zone and head higher, or just go straight up. Pretty overbought stuff, huh? Let's take a look at Netflix, which even though it hasn't trended, look at that flag. So I mean, that was a leader a couple weeks ago, and then it settled down. And that's fine. When you have a market that's bullish and trending like that, and you form a flag like that, I mean, we can see 600 to 615 on Nvidia next week if we get any kind of blow off. This is a powerful looking chart. Meta, no slouch. After the big bomb move it had the other day, it's now wedging. And as long as it doesn't take out, in my opinion, 453, this stock could go into the 500 range. So the chances there for blow off in many of these stocks. Other than Tesla, which although it did bounce last week 4 days in a row, it's still, there's a big gap here, and the gap below support, it rallied right back to the resistance level. So Tesla has to get back above 196.7 for this thing to be bullish again. It's trying to, because it has taken out the declining tops line. But it isn't one of my favorite stocks, not to say the least even. Okay, so that concludes the look at those ETFs. But we do, those stocks, but we want to look at the ETFs as well. The SMH, which we follow closely because it is semiconductor, and they lead the market. Look at that move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7 waves. Stock's very, very, very strong, this ETF. And it can blow off into that 220 range. I'd be awfully careful if you see anything up in that range, 218.20. What about financials? Well, they've had a really good rally since October, going from 50, the FAS, to mid-90s, 94-ish. The last week or so, it's a wedge, and it's a bull wedge. Unless that takes out 85, 5.5, we could see 95, 100, 105, etc. Really strong, and we'll see if that leads the way. And how about biotechs? Look at XBI. Finally, after consolidating in a coil and threatening to break down, it held the price and it held the 50, and it bounced up and broke out slightly. What I really need to see is this one over 92. You get over 92, you might take out 94.5 and run to 97, my next target. Any move underneath 85 would be negatory. Same with the LABU, they're both similar, almost exact pattern. Let me show this again. Very, very similar. So that's it for biotech. Now, so in general, biotech, financials, and semiconductors, very bullish charts, but the last two are extended. Biotechs are first coming out of coils and trying to confirm the other two. What's gold up to? This is pretty ugly, folks. Gold, the GLD hasn't done that much, but look at GDX. That's what I'm talking about. What a difference. But I mean, this is taking out some key support here on Friday in particular. I wouldn't touch, I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. Now they may be extended to the downside. Perhaps it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't tell. but we may very well get down to 25.6 and try to test those lows again. That's pretty ugly. Silver's not much better. Look at AGQ in the downtrend. And until I see this over 26, I'm not going to be bullish on this silver or gold right now. So my counsel to you: stay away from gold and silver until they show us some better. Natural gas. Look at the KOLD go. An unbelievable move. Just since January. The beginning of January, 65 to 140. This stock's more than doubled in less than a month. Natural gas has come down, and the oil looks terrible. You can see that it's at all-time lows. Never seen this before. And if this keeps up, they're going to do a reverse split on it. It's that's the way ETFs are. So, and now I look at the USO in terms of the price of oil. Oil is right at the decline top line. Look at this, 4 points. If you see the USO take out this double top here, that's 74. You may see this can go to high 7. You may get a blow off in oil too. I don't think that's coming, and it could easily fail here. It looks like it could be a 1, 2, 3, maybe a 4, 5. It could be a large bear flag, or it could be a base and a breakout. This is key time in this ETF. This is a real critical time for it. Either we blow out or we roll over. We've had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down, and then that. So it's a 1, 2. Wave 3 may be coming all the way down to 60, 61, or it blows out here and goes up to 79 and maybe even 82.3 again. But I'm not, I don't know, and I'll trade what I see, not what I think. And oil. So we looked at oil and gas, gold and silver, and pretty much I'm going to keep it right there for now. There's a bunch of stocks to talk about. Let's do it. AEHR. And by the way, I took about 50 stocks off my list. There were so many bullish charts, but I just want to show you the ones that, for the most part, we've either traded, have a lot of interest in, maybe had a swing on it. AEHR being one that's we've had a swing on here and here, and I believe it's currently a new swing. I want this over 2064. Then it can attack 23.4 and get up to 29.30. ABUS, one of our members has been all over me on this one. I wanted to acknowledge him that he was persistent in ABUS, and now it's broken out. And from what I'm seeing on it now is a quick move to 3.15 perhaps. We take that out, and that's key resistance. We're looking at a $4.5 stock. Currently 2 7/8. Look at that spike up Thursday, Friday, with Vine picking up strongly. ADMA has been a steady runner. Here it had a long run, then it pulled back, but it held this low from back earlier in the year, and then finally it ramped up again. Great looking chart. Target is 7. AEO, American Eagle Outfitters, and the retail stocks. So this and a couple others that are really strong. From under 10 to over 22, and it's more than doubled and then some in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave advance, and now it looks like it's consolidating and broke out again. Next target 24.5. AFRM, a firm which has been a tech traded swing of ours, when it broke out here, ran up beautifully, tagged all my targets. Now in a consolidation. I believe it might be in a mode now where it's, and by the way, it did break out Thursday, but pulled back Friday. So I'm going to want to see if Friday's pullback was simply profit taking, and whether or not this has the new angle of ascent, as you can see. If it is, we're looking for a test of 52, a takeout, and a run into the high 60s. ALAR, beautiful rising channel. A little wedge formed, and then it broke out. It's flagging in here. Your target, 18. ALPN, beautiful break out of the base, then it got to resistance and backed up. And when it blew through here and then formed the flag, I knew this was going higher. It went from 16.17 to 29.5, and it may be extended short term. So I'd be careful about it, looking for maybe a pullback consolidation. But I got to say, if it holds right in here, you might see the stock get as high as high 30s. AMD, well, it's consolidating while the rest of the market has gone up. Some semiconductors are doing this. It is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, and then it's consolidation. So the 5th wave consolidation is less reliable. I would 100% put a stop under 162. If it gets over 185, I would look for 205 to 215. That's how good this looks. Long term, much more than that. The return of the year, in my opinion, stock-wise, ever since last May, how about ANF? 22 to 110. Amazing move, rising channel, tight, and has no signs of quitting. Next target, 120.25. APLS, after it V-bottomed in August, it broke out here and retested and filled that gap. Then it worked its way higher. It's been a beautiful channel. It just broke out of a flag. I think it works its way higher. 74, 78, and 83, all targets. ARCT broke out through a declining top line here after popping and wedging, then formed a rising flag and broke out. You can see that this is the highest level we've seen on this in a couple of years. By targeting out 49.50. ERDX, after a big run up, it went sideways for 6 months. Broke out there, flag there, and now has an ascending bull coil there. Very bullish chart. It broke out Friday. I think this could be 12 and 15. ARQT, a tech traded swing, broke out here and ran up to both of my targets and backed off. I think she goes higher. Friday was a breakout. That wedge, that falling wedge that it formed right there, broke out. Now, if it gets above this level, 715, I'd look for 9. ATEC, beautiful V bottom, 866, and a run up to 17. Beautiful chart. It's at resistance. However, I believe the next target might be a retest of the 19 range. Atomera, inverse head and shoulders with a rising neckline. Pulled back recently, but at the end Thursday and Friday, snapped back from 720 to 840 and closed there. The next targets are 9.5 and 10.75. AUDC Tech Trader Swing, beautiful platform, broke out and pulled back. It's a buy and it's pulled back, in my opinion. I think we go to 15 and 17. Bluebird popped, wedged, broke out, reversed Thursday, but held on. As long as it holds 28, I'm good with this one. My target's 35. CAMT, what a wonderful chart this is. Powerful move up. Reminds me of SMCI, kind of like. Not saying it's an SMCI, but I do think this stock could be a $100 stock. CAPT exploded, coiled, popped, flag, popped, wedge, popped, another flag. Oh my God. You know, if this one takes, and this is thin, if it takes out 8, it could be a $10 or $11 stock. CCCT, gap, and then run, and then long falling flag. It broke out Friday, or it appears to have. If it's going to run, my targets are set, retest 8, 8.25, and then 11 and 12. Seco, long, beautiful chart, rising channel, coil, and my next target has to be up here near 26. CGNT broke out again. I'm looking for this stock to be double digits. CLS, beautiful rising channel, short-term rising pop is at the top of the channel, but if it accelerates, you might see mid-40s. CLSK took a hard dip, broke out again, and then spiked. I can see 17. COHR Tech Trader Swing exploded, and that looks like it's ready to roll. I mean, powerful looking move. 70 and 75 are your new targets. Koya broke back out Thursday and Friday, and now I'm looking for a test of 8, 9, and 11. Credo, beautiful chart. Broke out of a wedge Friday with a big pop. This is a Tech Trader Swing. I love it. I think it goes higher. 24 and 28 are your near-term targets. CRNT, this low-price puppy, exploded and retested Friday, but backed off. Not happy about that, but it did it on low volume. I still think the stock gets 295.3 and then really goes. Take a look at the long-term chart. If it breaks out of this base, we're looking at 3.5, 4.5, and 6. Crinetics, big breakaway gap, a long flag, a breakout, and now she's running. 42 is my next target. Criteo, big breakaway gap, a beautiful little consolidation. Watch this one next week. If it gets to 33, I think you're going to be 35 and 38. Carvana finally broke out of the long multi-week falling channel, but it held its moving average and trend line and broke back out. Let's look for a retest of 62. DBRG, beautiful long-term pattern, breaks out of a base, forms a wedge, runs up. Now I'm looking for 23. Dell, Tech Trader Swing, where I gave you back in September when it popped in the high 60s, made it into the high 80s, and now I'm looking for 93, 95. DraftKings has been a Tech Trader Swing since I believe July when it broke out here. Maybe May actually, but it's been on a beautiful rising channel, and I kept telling you 60, 50 or 60. Well, I think now we are headed towards $60. First target though is 54. DRCT, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth wave started. I'm not sure if it's going to explode up into the high 20s, but that's my target. Let's look for 1920 and 24.5. DYN, a beautiful rising channel coming out of base. A wedge, a pop, another wedge, and here we go again. 30 and 35 are targets. EDU, fantastic move, fantastic long-term chart. Look at this baby. Under 10 to almost 90. It reached 88.43 and stalled in here. But I do think it's going to extend to $100. Elon, beautiful base, breakout, coil, pop, and flag. 18 target. EOLS breaks out of a beautiful base, forms a wedge and pops, forms another one and is popping. I'm looking for 14.5 and 17. EWTX broke out of a base, formed a large wedge on a falling wedge and had a breakaway gap. My target, 23. EYPT with a big breakaway gap, a beautiful consolidation, and a rising channel. Target, 39. FDMT with an explosive move, breaks out to resistance. My next target is going to be up here, folks, in the mid-50s. FRO, beautiful chart. This is a shipper. I think it goes into the high 20s. It's got really strong pattern long term. Frog, well, I just noticed the big break out of this base, the wedge, and the pop. No telling where this goes, but it looks like the possibilities are 49.50. Fastly, just put a new swing on it. I like the way it popped out, flag, popped again, and wedged, and popped again. 29 target. Fusion, big, long base breakout, coil, breakout, another coil. I think we're headed for the high teens. GANX, what a beautiful move this is. Spiked up, falling wedge, pop, little flag, and then spike up again. Headed for 6.25, maybe 8. GBTC, well, the Bitcoin stocks, I just wanted to show it to you. They've had a long run, and this might be double topping up here, but any extension on GBTC, and we're looking for 49.50. GCT, a tech-traded swing, popped out and kept running and it wedged and broke out again. I think this has legs and might see mid-30s and even low 40s. Geo, a tech-traded swing since last October when it broke out, just kept running. It's a beautiful rising channel. I see no top yet. 13 and 14 targets. GNK, another shipper breaking out of the base, retesting and popping. It's now channeling. My target, 19.5. GTHX, another biotech in a beautiful rising channel. I can see 6 and 7. GitLab breaks out of a long base, inverse head and shoulders. Here's your left shoulder, head and right shoulder complex. Then a wedge and a breakout. This could really run. Not going to be surprised if I see the stock in the mid-90s. Long-term play, IDYA, which is a tech trader's, I believe, long-term play last year, has been up in a beautiful rising channel now, just accelerating. I'm looking for mid-50s and low 60s. IMNM, rising channel, accelerated, and it looks like it's in a blow-off mode, maybe into the low to mid-30s. INOD, inverse head and shoulders, breakout flag, and now pop. This should be a tech-traded swing. I missed it, my bad. 15 and 18 are my targets. IoT, beautiful long-term chart coming out of a base of consolidation here. I can see low 40s and even 50. I have IOBANS with a strong run-up, a pullback, held the moving average, and held price support. It may have broken out Friday. Watch for a retest of 10, 11, and 12. KOLD, we mentioned earlier. Copen came down hard, but boy, it did bounce hard, and it has some nice contract announcements. Once this gets over 255, I think Katie barred the door. I think long-term chart shows a big base that's about to explode into the 4, 5, 6 range. LBPH with a big pop and flag, then made a higher high, but backed off in a falling wedge. I just don't want to see it below the 16, 17 zone. That's support. My targets are mid-20s and low 30s. LMB's been a beautiful long-term rising channel. I think it extends into the mid-50s. LQDA, beautiful chart near the top of the channel. If it does extend, momentum takes it to 17 and 19.5. Lunar breaks out last week with a big pop. I did it on big volume, 2.9 million for that stock. It's huge. I think we have an extension, maybe the 6.25.5. MGNX has been a phenomenal rising channel. Once it broke out, it formed a wedge of just channeling up, and now it's accelerated. But it got to all of my targets. If it does go further, 27 is my target. MLTX has been in a kind of an inverse head and shoulders or a cup and handle. Take a look at what looks like about to break out of here. I got a target of 80 and 90. MREO at resistance in a beautiful rising channel, but should it get through here, and that's be major breakout, we can see 7 or 8. MRUS also long base, breakout, and rising hard. I can't tell how far they can go, but I'm looking for, let's call it 49.50. MTRX breaking out of equivalent, went vertical and tested the high from October. You realize if it gets through here, we're probably going to see 16. That's my next target. NKTX, beautiful rising pattern. And ascending bull wedges here. We break out, we're probably looking at 15, 16, 17. NTNX, one of my favorites all year, and it just keeps running. It's in a rising flag. This is probably going to be 63 and even high 60s. NTRA, V bottom, rising channel, continues to go. This is a tech traded swing as well. Our next target is 74. NUVL, Nuvalent, beautiful rising channel, breaking out of a coil here. My target is 94. OCUL, coming out of through resistance on Friday. I think it's got legs, and now I'm looking for 8. OLMA breaks out of a falling wedge and flags. Note that flag in here, because if it breaks out of this, you're going to see 17.75 and 19.5. OIC, another beautiful rising channel near the top, but it's accelerating here. You can see this angle here has been a strong one. I think we have got a chance of being an $18 stock. Oscar, one of our swing trades, doing great. It broke out, rising channel, popped again, falling wedge, and then here's the breakaway gap. I think it spikes and gets into the low to mid 20s. Path also broke out. This first stock broke out of a base, popped and formed a coil. That coil broke out. Now you might see 28, 8.5, and 32.3. Puma finally breaking out of its base. Indeed, I think the stock moved to 6.5, 3/4, and then 7 3/4, 8. PCVX broke out of a base and kept running, and then coiled and popped. Now it's flagging. This is accelerating to new all-time highs, and I think the stock continues to move into the mid 80s. PHR, V bottom platform, breakaway gap. It's been running. Next target 31.35. Impinge, one of our tech traded swings here, really did well for us in low 60s to the 116 range on Friday. 119 actually, which is my target. A little extended. Great momentum. Palantir, surprised. Great report. Everybody bought it at the same time. Breakaway gap and run up to resistance. Next target could be 28, but I wouldn't be surprised if it back to fill in here for a while. Plug, V bottom, wedge, pop wedge. I think you get another one. Looking for 6 and 7. Powell, popped here, coiled. We put a swing on it. Never really went anywhere. It did pop here in December to get up to 97 from where we gave it to you in the mid 70s. But eventually, take a look at this, 147 in a monster move this last week. RLMD, beautiful little base, long base actually. Breakaway gap, target 7 3/4. RNA and a beautiful rising channel. This is a tech traded swing. I'm looking for more. 17 is my target. Roivant, beautiful long-term chart. Coming to the apex of a large wedge. I think if it pops 11.5 3/4, you're looking at 13 and 15. RXST, I love this chart long-term. It's extended, but you can see how it's holding kind of a rising flag here. If it pops, you're going to see mid-50s. Rhythm, wow, what a move this here. Pop, falling wedge, breakout, explode, falling wedge or coil. Let's call it a wedge right there. See it? Next target is 60. Sentinel 1 breaks out of a base, pulls back to retest the breakout point and runs. There may not be any stopping this stock until it gets to mid-30s, even low 40s. SCRA explodes, pulls back, flags, pops, forms a large coil, and finally breaks out. Looking for a retest of the spike high near 9 3/4. We get to that, it could be 11 or 12. This is a powerful chart. SGHT ran up hard, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have another leg coming as long as it holds support right now about $4, targeting 6 and 8. Shopify broke out last week and it's extending. The target looks like 108. SLDB, beautiful rising channel after coming out of a long-term down channel. Currently in a wedge pattern. If it breaks out its wedge, 11 and 14 are targets. SLNO, major breakaway gap, beautiful bull coil, a pop, and a rising channel. This one has momentum. 665 is my target. SMCI, well, I can only tell you that I think it's an $800 stock. I don't know what it does after that. Snow, beautiful base, long-term breakout, flagged in here, retested, and ran up, spiked up 1182 on Friday. It might very well reach 245 before not too long. SRRK, which we gave you as a swing, and it broke out at 9, ran all the way up to 21 and pulled back. It broke out again, I think. Next target is a retest of 2021. SRTS, one of our old favorites from back in here, got clobbered a year ago. We've been in a downtrend ever since until recently when it built a base, broke out, and then had a wedge and popped. You see, Friday's action is the highest in a year. No, not quite, 8 or 9 months. But my next target is going to be 5.5. SSNT, pop coil or wedge. Now pop falling wedge. And if this one gets above 16, you might see the stock back to 2022. SWTX broke out of a base, wedged, and is a rising channel. It's a beauty, and I think it extends to the mid-50s and low 60s. SYRS breaks out of a base, explodes. Look at that coil. It's a beauty. If we pop out of here, we're looking at 9 or 10. TIL broke out of its flag on Friday and might extend out to the high teens. I'm looking for 16, 17. Talk. Really like this low price stock. Look at this flag. I think you're looking at 3, 4, and 5. TLSI exploded, and look at that tight coil. Next target, 12 3/4. TMDX, beautiful rising channel. I think it extends to 100 and then maybe 115.20. Tenaya, pop flag, pop wedge, and pop again. I think we might see high single digits. TPST, with an explosive move, has gone sideways for 3 months. Don't do anything with it until we see it over 5 with energy, then it's off to the races. And TSVT, long-term downtrend, reversed, falling wedge, exploded, and rising wedge. Now I'm looking for near 8. TWST with a big run up in the coil, maybe breaking out here. If it gets over 40, 45, and 58.3 are my targets. Uber reached over 70 this week from where we first showed it to a 29. I love this long-term chart. It's a little extended though. UEC and Uranium Group still trending. I can see 9, 11, or even 13 over the next few weeks and months if this continues. UIS, tech trader swing broke out above the moving averages and then above here. We gave you a swing on it. It's almost doubled since then, and it's pulled back, and I'm looking for 9, 9.5 now. Vera blew through the top of that channel, at least it looks like it did. It's a tough one, but it's an all-time high. But it had a major move in the last 3 weeks from 14 to 45, and it's tripled in a very short period of time. Be careful. Momentum is huge, though. Viking broke out too, and I think it's going to extend. I'm looking for high 30s on this one. VRNS breaks out of a coil, pops a retest, and now breaks out again. Mid-50s, low 60s may be possible. VRT also very similar rising pattern, now breaking out. Could accelerate. Mid-70s, mid-80s targets. VSST, same kind of pattern, run up, wedge. I'm looking for 46.7. RAP had a nice comeback after getting a spike up and pullback. It might be coming on again. Looking for 5.5, 3/4, and 7. And finally, U.S. Steel. Well, not finally. U.S. Steel has been this pattern because of potential takeover. Let's just say I think it will be. But at what price? 50 plus maybe. XERS broke out of a wedge. This is a tech trader swing. I think it retests the high and then runs up to 3 3/4, 4. XPL Logistics, my favorite transportation stock. Look at this long-term chart. I think this might accelerate to the low, to the 140, 45 range. ZIMV, beautiful base, breakaway gap, nice platform. If this breaks through here, if ZIMB gets to 20.5, we could see 24 and 28. And finally, ZIXI, which we've been talking about, I think is going to go private. I think it's going to do it around 14 or 15 a share. Nice chart. I have a few bucks of shorts to show you. I'm not keen on all of them, but let's take a quick look at them. I added a new one in this week, but AEHR should have been a cover. I mentioned last week that it dropped from 30 to 15 and is at the bottom of the channel. So, and you can see it is bouncing. ASAN broke out to the upside, so that should be covered. AVAV as well. It's not quite broken out yet, but looks too strong for me. CEIX, I just added. This is a massive head and shoulder top breakdown. Any rally back to the mid 80s should be shorted for a move maybe down to high 60s. CHX in a strong oil group, I'd be careful or anything short if oil breaks out. But if you want to cover over 32, that's your place. CMT, that looks pretty bad. If this breaks down, we're probably going to see 12, 13. Cocoa. This head and shoulders is a tech trader swing short, and you can see why. I don't like the look of this at all. I think 18, 15 are the next targets. CQP came down hard in bear wedge and broke down. This looks lower to me too. 47, 44, 41, all targets. FLYW, tenuous. That's at resistance. If it breaks down, look out. If it breaks out, you cover. Fox Factory still hasn't broken down. I thought it might by now. It's near the declining top line. Let's see what it does here next week. INMD broke out. It's no longer short. Jill, well, it's on the verge of maybe breaking out, but it's at resistance here. Let's see if it fails and rolls over or breaks out and we cover. LNTH, another bear flag. I don't know what's wrong with this stock, but it looks very negative, and I think the next target has to be 47.5. MIRM broke down from the bear flag and then popped. We'll see if it fails quickly or that was just a head fake bear flag. And finally, NTES broke to the upside, and that's a cover. As far as I'm concerned, again, even though the technicals don't look great, it's had a big recovery from the low 80s to 100 and change. This is just too strong for me right now. Folks, that's to look at belongs to shorts, the underlying technicals, the Nasdaq 100 generals, and a lot of the ETFs we follow closely. Chock full of information for next week. An important week next week coming up. Indeed, it is. Make sure you review this a couple times. Have a great rest of your weekend, and thanks for being patient on this weekend. HB out. Take it easy.